to our exclusive webinar on Let's Go to Portugal, the power of Portuguese passport. My name is Afsana Rahim Lakhani, signing in from Lisboa. I'm the moderator for today's evening. We at the Lakhani Group invest in real estate and our service focused family office dedicated in embracing values, bringing shared wealth for the beneficiaries. Before we dive into the webinar, let me do a quick temperature check. We would request you all to turn on your audio and video off at all times. Kindly keep your phones on silent mode to get most out of this webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type
Não
in the
acredito.
Zoom chat in the chat box and we'll have time for the question towards the end. Let us start with our webinar by welcoming our four amazing panelists. So our first panelist is Mr. Joao Villalobos, who is the CEO of Trustin Investment Consultants. Mr. Joao is the co-founder of Trustin Investment Consultants, a real estate consulting firm that offers a 360-degree comprehensive approach to property investment and residency by investment. Trustin is a Portugal-based boutique consultancy built around its clients. Our mission as a company, their mission is to become the most trusted property investment and immigration partner in Portugal. Trusted, with the help of their collective network of partners, identifies potential investment opportunities and serves the client with best interest, and they are here as a company that can be trusted. So we're very proud to have Mr. Joao to our webinar. The forum is all yours now.
Okay, thank you. Let me just say this. You probably went to my LinkedIn profile. The company I'm representing now here is the Gold Portugal. Okay, and we are.
Oh, I think he has a problem, a connection problem.
Yes, that's true actually. But yeah, he's absolutely right. He's representing the Golden Portugal and not Trustin. So what I'll do is I'll watch for him. He's back here. Perfect.
I'm back. So I was saying we are a one-stop shop coordinating the entire chain of services associated with the process of obtaining a golden visa from start to finish. Let me thank you for your invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I want to also greet all the participants, and I hope that everyone gets as much out of this initiative as possible. I'm sorry about some cutoffs that I'm having here. I don't know why. Maybe we should move on to the presentation or to the questions.
Yeah, we have your
Can
presentation.
you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know if you want me to introduce the company first.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be great.
Okay. So we help our clients through all steps. As I said, we coordinate the whole service chain, and we believe it's very important to have a company with local, which does this.
Lost him again.
Yeah.
We definitely has a bad signal. So while he comes back, I know the Golden Portugal is there. You go.
I'm sorry, I'm back again. I was saying that it's important to have a maestro conducting this orchestra, because to obtain your golden visa, your Portuguese golden visa application, you will have this service chain with the managers of the investments, the lawyers, the bank account managers, the tax authorities, other authorities, and you really need someone to coordinate all these parts in order to have a smooth process. That's what we do. From getting your tax identification number to be your tax representatives, to engage you with the experienced lawyers on golden visa, deal with the tax authorities, the investment managers. That's what we do. So I'm here, totally available for the questions you might have. I'm sure I will be able to help you clarifying your doubts, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Sana, I believe we have some questions actually from some members of the audience prior to the webinar start. So if you can actually ask those, that would be great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Joao. I think he's got disconnected again, but I think we can wait for a couple of more moments before we go on to answering the questions. I hope
Yeah.
he's joining.
There he is back.
Yes. Can you hear us, Mr. Joao?
Yes, totally.
Yes, thank you so much for highlighting about your company and the processes that it has. And with regards to the golden visa application procedures, and we have several questions that is being asked again and again by the clientele, and they would want to know more about it. So let me ask you a few questions about now that we know that post-COVID, there has been several changes that has been made, and COVID has brought a bit of a turning point in people's life, especially in the life of people who are based in hospitality industry and tourism industry. So how do you see Portugal booming, like, in hospitality or this tourism market now after COVID?
Yeah, well, Portuguese tourism is gaining traction. So I don't really see any menace regarding the.
I think the internet is really
I'm,
shaking. Yes.
I'm back again. I'm back
Yeah.
again. I was saying I think it impacted mostly, the offices because this COVID era brought us a new way, new working habits, and as you know, many people started working from home, and people got used to it, and companies got used to it. So I see some risk regarding the offices. Considering real estate, there's more of a risk in this kind of real estate. On tourism, I don't see it because tourism is getting more and more traction in Portugal. I'm quite sure that once we get by this COVID issue, the tourism in Portugal will go on growing and growing. Nowadays, it's around 14% of our GDP. You know. Continuing, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
listen?
Yes, we can hear
Okay. I hope you were listening to what I said before. Well, I was saying that tourism is getting more and more, and I see this sector will go on growing, and Portugal was for a long time a hidden pearl, and there's a word of mouth effect which is obvious, and every foreign customer, every foreign tourist I contact with always says the same. I'm here because a friend of mine was here and told me this country was gorgeous. The people were very friendly. The weather is great. The food is great. And every day, more and more people around the world are getting to know Portugal, and I'm pretty sure that the tourism sector will go on growing. I have no doubt about that.
That's amazing. Yes, I so agree with you. And with regards to now that the new changes, I think Mr. Joao got disconnected again. Uh, Maybe we can continue to have
Yeah.
conversation with him. later in the presentation, and maybe we can get going with regards to the other panelists as well. So, Mr. Joao, I was just acknowledging the fact that, yes, about the hospitality industry and the tourism, which is continuing to grow, and that has gained a lot of demand with regards to golden visa. If you don't mind, we can continue with our panelists and continue this discussion, this interesting engagement about the golden visa. And let's have Mr. Ahmed and Rahim, as well as Mr. Ron, on board and try to continue this discussion ahead in the presentation.
Absolutely. I think let's do that as well. What I'll do is make a quick presentation about the investment fund, the other options that we have in Portugal for the golden visa process. So let me just go ahead and actually make a brief introduction of ourselves and of our company as well. So it's a family company. Always fun times working with a family company. You know, you have good days and bad days and horrible days. so it's amazing. It's amazing working with the team. But nevertheless, we have a very strong and international expertise here at the Lakhani Group Portugal, and we're very excited to launch two amazing projects. One which we call as Quinta de Forte Value, and the other one is 7X, which is what we will present today as well. And apart from just the family company, we have some strong individuals in our supervisory board as well. By that is headed by Dr. Joaquim Costa Lima. He amazing board that has over 100 years of experience, professional experience in the industries of auditing, in the industry of finance, in legal and whatnot. So we're truly blessed to have a strong management supervisory board on the investment fund, as well as we have an investment advisory board that is different from the supervisory board, which consists of the Portuguese developer Avni and Deepak, who is a financial consultant out from the UK, as well as Dr. Rami from Dubai. So very much international board when it comes to making the advice for the fund itself. And so we're truly blessed to have a very, very strong team apart from the family team itself. And just to kind of touch base on our track record, we are originally from India, but have been doing developments in the US and in Canada also, and now over the last 4 years in Portugal. And some of these projects that you are seeing in front of you are the base projects that we have done over the last 4 years, which is student housing projects as well as touristic projects in and around the Lisbon area with some excellent returns. So I'm more than happy to actually share with you the returnability on some of the projects that we have done. In addition to that, what we present today is the 7X investment fund. 7X essentially is a fund that is approved by Golden Visa by the CMVM, which is the Portuguese Securities Commission, and it is audited by external auditors as well as the management supervisory board itself. So we are a licensed investment fund. There can be unlicensed entities that can raise capital, but we are a licensed entity, and that is why we are actually eligible for the Golden Visa program. Something very simple that I think everyone should know how investment funds work, because today we have Ron, who is out from the US. We have Ahmed from Dubai. So in these two countries, the language of investment fund could be very different from what we have out in Portugal. So even though the fund is called a venture capital fund, a venture capital investment fund, it is allowable to actually invest in real estate assets and to own real estate assets. But the only difference is that it must go through the investment via companies. Okay, so there could be various different structures that the investment fund could invest in. It could be an investment into a company with 100% ownership. It could be majority holder, minority shareholder, or simply preferential rights on a joint venture itself. So there are many different ways where we will invest for through the investment fund channel. Um, and I have here a couple of slides to impress upon you on what are the assets that we are going to be investing in. And one of the assets is, we call it Quinta de Forte Value, which is a touristic project in Lisbon. And this is only about 15 minutes from the airport. This is the phase one that is currently 80% complete, and we will be finishing the project by the end of this year, most likely. Apart from this particular project, so by the way, if someone wishes to purchase an individual villa also, that is also eligible for the golden visa piece. Okay. Then you have a project that we are currently sourcing, which is in the Algarve, which is a 4-star luxury resort. That's an amazing, stable operational asset, which we will be investing through the fund towards the end of the year. Also, we also have another hotel there, which requires strong management restructuring, and we are working towards a negotiation piece for this project. And finally, one of the projects that we are currently working on is a ground up development of a student housing complex very close to Lisbon, that has a huge potential for upside. So this is another final project that we will be investing in. So essentially, the idea is through the 7X investment fund, the investors will get their golden visa, but also they will also receive a strong return on their investment. So all in all, it's not just an immigration scheme. It's not just buying a passport or buying a residency card. It is to invest in something tangible that can be in a very strong way as a part of their investment portfolio itself. Okay. I want to explain just one final slide here, and I'll move to questions. So, as any asset manager, we also have a performance fee. And the way that our performance fee works, very simply, is the first 30% return over the 7-year period belongs to the investor, and anything after that is a 70-30 split. We do charge a 1% asset management fee to manage all the investments inside the 25 million euro capital fund. And that's it. So our hurdle rate is 30%. Everything after that is 70-30. And we invest in strong assets like the ones we showcased earlier. So no weird structures, no complex structures. We keep things very, very simple, and we have a very strong legal team who represents the investors to get their golden visa, to have them, their self appointments and whatnot. So essentially, at the end of the 7-year period, the investors will be eligible for their European passport, and in the end get their profits. Now, one of the things that is very important on the golden visa piece, on the investment piece, is that all of the returns that are made in the investment fund is completely tax free for non-residents. So this is a great thing. Otherwise, you may, if you were holding Portuguese nationality, as in the regular way, you would end up paying a personal income tax also on the gains of the fund. Through here, no. So that's one of the beauties of investing in the VC fund. Okay, so that's it. Afsana, I'll question back to you, and always open for questions and discussions.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the presentation. And about 7x, and it gives wide range of understanding about how venture capital fund works in Portugal. Just curious to know if one can invest in multiple funds at the same time. How does that work?
Absolutely. So the minimum is 500,000 euros, and yes, you can invest in multiple funds. I've seen investors do 250, 250. I've seen investors do, maybe three funds also. So really depends on the client and how much they want to spread their investment. But even through the investment that they are putting in a venture capital fund like ours, they are diversifying their investment through multiple properties. So you just have to kind of see who the management team is and what they are going to do with the funds. So that's the whole idea. The investment will be diversified through a singular investment fund also. So you just have to kind of decide. But yes, absolutely, you can go through multiple funds. In the future, as we go ahead, we will also be launching different funds for different aspects. So you can still remain under the same asset management company, but invest in multiple funds also. Okay? So that's
Yeah. I
you.
think with regards to the initial research that the investors start doing, and they are attracted to several different kinds of fund, and it's a good to know that one can invest in multiple funds too, but with, of course, with some focus. So I think the question can be to everyone. Maybe Joao, Ahmed, and Ron can also, like, try to participate here with regards to what do you think the investors are looking for with regards to venture capital fund initially when they start researching, maybe at the US and in Dubai. What are the diverse range of people which are looking for venture capital fund? What are their needs in the market? So if you all also can engage and participate here in the discussion.
I'm sorry, Afsana, I got cut off. I got cut off while you were asking the question. I didn't listen to it.
Yes. Yes. I was just asking all the panelists that what do you think people, the investors at their initial stage are looking for when they are starting to think about venture capital fund? Like what is the need of the investor? Why are they wanting to invest?
Mhm,
And what is their portfolio like?
mhm. Well, the customers, we did at our company, we did more than a third of the golden visas through the fund route last year. And so we have accumulated a lot of experience on that. And I think there's two kinds of clients wanting to invest in the fund route. The ones that are looking for some pickup and usually look for pure private equity funds, investing in R&D, innovation, growth companies. This happened a lot with American clients from Silicon Valley. We have this kind of client.
Does that mean I'm on?
Ron, I think you should chime in here
I
because
can
he was
chime
talking
in.
about
It's
Silicon
fine.
Valley. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
please.
So I haven't had much direct experience with the fund, but I will say that all through last year and a little bit the previous year, because the threat of the golden visa being removed from the big cities in Portugal, like Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve, was already alive in 2020, and then it got extended through 2021. So I had a lot of clients looking at golden visa that wanted to live in one of those locations, and so I started to talk about the various funds that I had seen, and I expect that I will see more clients doing that. Um, because they still want to live in places like Lisbon, Porto, Algarve, etc. So again, I haven't had direct experience with that, but it kind of leads just real quickly to another question that I saw, and that is, the difference between people wanting to live in cities versus living kind of in the countryside. And I did have an experience recently where I met an older couple from Florida, and they wanted to move to Portugal. They've been to Portugal. I have a partner in Portugal that helped them with the real estate, and they did buy something in the countryside, maybe about 40 minutes from Porto. So, that's a good example of somebody, choosing something outside of those areas, because that's the lifestyle they want. But I do expect to see more people. It's something that I might even consider myself, because I personally probably want to live in one of those three places, or at least maybe close to it. So I think it'll become more popular. As I understand, the threshold varies on this investment. Can somebody chime in on that? Yeah, I heard 500,000 euro, but I've heard 350 as well, and I don't
Well,
know
it
if it's
was
something that's
350
offered
until
here.
the end of last year. Sorry,
Okay.
it was 350 until the end of last year, and from January 1st, the threshold went up to 500K
On the funds.
On the
on the
investment
fund.
fund.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. We do also have some investors who are looking for funds, but purely from a return perspective. Okay, so
Yeah.
if they are not looking for a golden visa, they can invest with 100,000 minimum, and our
Yeah.
target return on this particular fund is 7%. So that's also an option that's there. A lot of people, especially Americans, actually are coming in for the D7 visa, which is not a golden visa. Unfortunately, it does restrict you in terms of the number of days that you can be in the number of days minimum that you must be in the country. So it's a bit inflexible, but we have seen some investors do investment for a return perspective, especially because it's a tax-free investment. Okay, so we have that
Rahim,
also.
please let me, because I have 30 seconds before it crashes again. Let me just add this.
Yeah.
From the main difference beginning in the 1st of January, because of the law change, is that the options on the real estate route narrowed a lot.
Yeah.
Because those places where you want to buy, the higher demand places, are places where you no longer can buy residential property. You can no longer do it, only if it's touristic or commercial.
Exactly.
And if you look at the low density areas, these low density areas are also the areas where you can still buy residential property. These low density areas are the areas where no's. So if you buy a property on low density area, you will have trouble rent right now in terms of investors.
30
He was
seconds.
right.
Yeah, he's absolutely right that the investment for real estate with low density, they've made it a little bit complex. I'll share an image later on, maybe by a social media post to our viewers that kind of explains low density and interior
Yeah.
regions. So yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Joel.
And this year started with a lot of people looking at more people looking at the real estate market much more than the fund route, because they see it as the low budget option. Because if it's a rehabilitated property in a low density area, it starts from 280K. And if it's a rehabilitated property in a high density area, it starts from 350K. So
Yes.
people are looking at the real estate as the low budget option, not knowing that the options are not the same as it was in 2021. So there's a learning curve going on. When people realize that this is different than it was last year, I think people will start looking more at the fund route. And talking about the fund route, as I was saying before, there are two kinds of investors. The ones that look at pure private equity, they want the two figures. They want to have a high income on their investment. They feel comfortable with risk. These are few. As I told you, mostly more sophisticated people from Silicon Valley, CEOs from companies that are used to these private equity funds. But
just to continuing on, he's pretty much right on the track that he was.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear
Yes.
me? Yeah. Most of the clients prefer other kind of fund, which is the venture capital fund, which is linked to real estate. And why is that? Because they don't look at this investment as a way to get rich. They're okay with lower income options. They just want it to be stable. And they look at a real estate linked fund, venture capital fund, as a fund with lower risk. And they just want their golden visa and not to be exposed to too much risk on their investment. That's why most of the my clients that choose the fund route, they go with venture capital, real estate linked venture capital.
So Joao, just to on that note, and maybe this is also a question for Ahmed, is what nationalities do you think works very seamlessly for fund type investments?
Well, definitely the Anglo-Saxonic, Americans, Australians, British, South African are the countries or the clients that usually go for the fund route.
Actually, during the past,
if you look at if you look at Asia, Chinese.
oh,
Sorry, you were saying, Ahmed?
during the past year, actually, it was like a surprise that there was a high demand from the UAE locals, the
Okay.
Emirati people.
Sorry.
It was like, I think last
Sorry.
year was like more than 50 applications for Emirati only. There were Canadians applied for the golden visa. But let's say from the market, from inside the Dubai market, for sure the highest demand can come from Indian nationality, Pakistani, and some Arabs. Not, yeah, yeah. Actually, for the Syrians, we've seen some demand. There are people asking for the golden visa, but the thing is, because of what's happening in the market right now, it's like we are talking about Portugal, permanent residency, and on the other hand, we have like the Caribbean passports with lower investment. So we can say most companies are promoting the Caribbean passport because it's easy. But when the client comes to us and when we share with them the stability of the Portuguese program, they definitely will go for the Portuguese permanent residency. So
No,
yeah,
it's very good to know the stats. It's of course speak for itself. We have seen also a big number of upsurge in the from the UAE market, especially. I think I've been now to Dubai 3 times over the last 6 months, and hence for these exact reasons. So yeah, Afsana, you have some questions, I believe, also for the team.
Yes, yes. So I think a lot of these ideas are clarifying with regards to what the investment fund that we are talking about. Since we are in the verge of talking about the Dubai market, I would like to give the forum to Mr. Ahmed Garib, and who is a partnership B2B business development manager. He is an Egyptian based in Dubai since 2017, and he started his career in the CBI and second passport industry in 2018. He has worked in B2B business model and is blessed to be connected and meet with almost all the industrial leaders and professionals. He has worked for the largest companies starting with Desk Group, then Blumina, Strokes and Ground, Severin Partners, etc. So now, without further ado, we would like to turn our time over to Mr. Ahmed.
thank you for the great introduction. Well, I just want to add some few info that I want to share. from my perspective, from the B2B perspective, I'm more into like the market research, the analysis, and I can see the Portuguese golden visa should have more demand. We need to educate the market the real difference between a second passport and the Portuguese residency, because we've seen before some programs, some residency programs had some issues without mentioning any country. But still, the Portuguese program, there are no problems, only the new regulations. And I think, and I'm sure, like with the new higher prices and the new regulations, like you cannot get the golden visa by investing in residential in Lisbon and Porto, this will not affect the golden visa program because we still have, as you mentioned, the investment fund. We still have Portugal as a country because the minimum investment in any real estate in Portugal, especially in Lisbon, if you are an investor and you are willing to invest over the 500,000 euros, you can get at least 8% price appreciation on your property. And if you invest in the venture capital fund, I think the first thing the client will look for is like a company with a good reputation and a fund manager with a good reputation, and then he will go for it. He's just looking for the permanent residency. And what makes Emirati people looks for the golden visa? They have a very strong passport already, and they are not looking for a second plan or something. It's just an investment. It's just a place in Europe where I can live, and in the future, if I change my mind, I can make some money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That's
this is
it.
what I just want to share. Is like if we are going to focus on the Portugal permanent residency, we need to educate the market more about the benefits and the advantages of the PR of Portugal instead of like the second passport. Second passport is necessary for some nationalities. This is for sure. But this is what I mean. We need to educate the market more. We need to educate our clients more about that.
But
This is what.
when you say educate, Ahmed, sorry to kind of jump in again in this one, is what do you feel is lacking? You know, because education can be continuous and growing, and things can be changing. It's like, what do you feel is lacking from an educational standpoint? Is it just the media and publication, or is it something else?
Well, actually, it can be. I don't know. It's different from company to company. But what I can see in the market is everyone is making like their marketing or their advertisements are apply for the Portuguese passport. Get the Portuguese passport in 5 years. Get a
Yeah.
second passport in 3 months or in 6 months. But this is not the issue. What about, well, if I do some advertisements or some marketing and I educate like the audience, like invest in Portugal and get like 8% plus the permanent residency.
Yeah,
Like I'm not a marketing guy, but I think we need to do some other marketing than that.
that's
It's like
true.
every company is like they do the ads like get the Portuguese passport or get the second passport in 3 months.
That's true. That's
So
true.
clients they don't know.
I think
Maybe this
Americans have been very
webinar,
successful.
this webinar is a very good idea to educate some people of our audience, you know. So yeah.
True, true. Ron, what do you think about when it comes to education? What are your thoughts on the program itself, and when it comes to the education piece?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is for people to understand that the golden visa opportunity is not just for themselves, it's for their entire family. And I think this is a huge piece, especially for people that have children. And I understand that I think parents can also be part of this.
Yes.
But let's say you're a family of 5, you have 3 children, they're 10, 12, and 14. If you obtain this golden visa, I mean, you've given yourselves the opportunity to ultimately live in Portugal and then ultimately anywhere in the EU, but you've also given it to your family. And I think that is a huge, huge benefit for young people to have that ability to essentially live wherever they want to. I mean, they can get a student visa and go to university somewhere, without that, but the ability to have that flexibility to live wherever they want in the EU, I think, is fantastic. And so that's something I try to do, and I think it's a big lacking that I've seen that we need to emphasize that.
Very true.
Absolutely. I think this kind of clarifies the different kinds of people that are looking for golden visa and what are their requirements. Is it yield, or is it citizenship, or is it for the family? Is it to stay for long? I think if we understand the portfolio of the clients, it is beneficial for us to market it better, as Ahmad also suggested, and educate the people with regards to what are the additional benefits that they are getting along with the passport, not just the passport. So,
Yeah, and
yes.
in addition, if I could just say one more thing. I mean, I'm doing things kind of more like Ahmed, from the internet, the foreign location to Portugal, talking to people, and I'm getting a lot of people, that want to move to Portugal for various reasons, and the most common reasons are retirement. Another common reason, I have a client right now. I'm about to list their condo in downtown San Diego. Um, they're both, I think, in their 40s, and they both work remotely. So they had the dream of moving to Portugal and continuing their work, and they did their exploratory trip last month, and they came back and they said, "Well, why are we waiting until 2023 to make this move?" So they decided to do it right now. So we're going to be listing their property in the next few weeks after they get it ready, and then they'll be in Portugal in around the 1st of July with their funds ready to buy. Um, so that's another component. And I think also people will want to send their kids to university um, and in Europe, and have them have that ability over time to, stay if they want to.
And lately it's like Portugal is a crypto or digital currency friendly country, right?
Yes.
This is one thing that we need to share with the people. Um, I don't know. It's like I have friends. They rolled over the whole EU, and most of them they are telling me when you go to Portugal, it's something else. Regardless the weather, the food, and everything. But when it comes to Portugal, seriously, when you travel to some country, you can feel it. You can feel if there is some kind of racism, some kind of non-acceptance from the locals of this country, but this doesn't exist in Portugal at all. Many
Yeah.
people mention this to me, and this is something that we need to share strongly with our clients. I think so.
I totally agree. That's one of the main points.
Hmm.
Besides what everybody knows, the sun, the weather, the food, is the fact that Portuguese people are very curious about foreigners. They don't look at a foreigner as someone who's going to take their job. I have
Hmm.
my own experience. One of my best friends, he's an Iranian. He came to Portugal in
He'll come back now.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Ahmed, with regards to Portugal being a non-xenophobic country. with regards to me myself, like living in Lisbon, have never faced any kind of racism, or and maybe Joao can also add that what is like
Yeah,
around him,
I
how the
was
is, yeah.
sorry. I was telling you my experience with this guy. We met at 6 at the primary school, and they were afraid. They had run from Iran with their clothes on and not much.
Wow.
And they were afraid. They were in a foreign country. They never lived abroad before, and his mother, my dear Pari, was very impressed because after 1 month, his kid was the most popular guy in school. You know, because we look at people, at foreign people, with curiosity. I don't. The kids don't know this, but I think a Portuguese, when he looks at it,
I think the
We
slides
lost you.
did it all, right? The slides talks about third safest country, modern infrastructure,
just to
and
finish, this is so well. We look at an Iranian and we see a Persian. We look at a guy from Lebanon and we see a Phoenician. We look at a guy from Tunisia and we see a guy from Carthage. You know, and this is something very important. We respect every culture. We created the first World Wide Web. We invented globalization in the 15th century, and I think that's stuck with us. And we are definitely not a racist people, and we really love foreigners.
Yeah.
yes,
Could I chime in just one more thing on what Joao was saying? I'm part of the LGBT community, and I will also say that many of my clients and my best friend who moved there last year, and he's been there a year now, and just the comfort feeling in the country, um, and the acceptance, I think is unsurpassed, and I think it goes with what you were saying, Joel.
No, makes a lot of sense. One of the things actually I should even add while this topic is there is, of course, the marriages of the same sex is accepted in Portugal, and also is acceptable on the golden visa law also. So that is one of the things that I've seen as a discrepancy in the law for many other countries, but Portugal is actually very much open and very much acceptable to
Yeah.
on this front and many other fronts similar to this as well. They have a very strong nationality law also when it comes to kids being born in the country. If the parents actually do not have a residency card, let's say, then they are eligible for the nationality if the kids are born in the country. So there are many laws that are very, very favorable to something that you think is should be logical, right? Something that you think should be natural.
Actually, about this law, it's like if the parents are legally residing in Portugal for 1 year, their newborn will get the passport.
yeah.
Yes.
So, do you think how many like agents are telling the clients about this, or they even know about this?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how many clients, if they know about this rule, they would directly go for the Portuguese golden visa?
Yeah.
You got me. You got what I mean, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and believe it or not, there are so many different variations to the law when it comes to being in the favor of the recipient. Okay, but no one talks about it. There is not enough education about it. There are laws in relation to other Europeans taking nationality in Portugal also, and they have made it very easy. Like, if you, let's say, you don't have a residency card of Europe, but you are from Poland, all you need to do is very simply go to the municipality in Lisbon or anywhere in Portugal and get a certificate, and they'll change your nationality, not nationality, but they'll change your or accept your application in the CEF for the changing of your residency card. So there are so many ways, there are so many things that happen. I think one thing that is a little bit of a drag is the fact that the processes here are slow, and I think that frustrates a lot of people. And I think that is something that once improved, I think they'll make everything just so much more robust in terms of what Portugal truly stands for. So
I'm not sure because I got cut off, but someone is saying something about Poland, and
yes,
and the fact. Well, Poland is a country of the Schengen area,
yeah,
so you are free to move if you have a Portuguese passport or a Portuguese residency permit. You are free
yeah,
to travel. And well, if you're a Polish, you don't need it because you are part of the Schengen area.
yeah. No, I
The
was just
same
talking
happens.
about
Okay.
the transfer of residency or the right to live and work in Portugal if you are of other European nationality. So that's what I was kind of giving the difference from. But yeah, Afsana, you have some questions at your table.
I would also before we move on, I would also like to introduce Mr. Ron. I think he's been very kind and humble and sharing his thought. So let me first introduce him as well. He's a broker associate and local expert in La Jolla and San Diego. Ron is a licensed as a broker and has consistently won awards for production. Ron also invests in and builds homes. Ron has helped clients to buy property in Portugal, in Mexico, and plans to expand to other countries like UAE, Colombia, Spain, Malta, and others for retirement, second homes, and for university bound family members. So, Ron, thank you so much for enlightening us about the investment portfolio that you are engaged in. But I would also like to know how like what are the advantages as per you for the golden visa, and what is your sense of golden visa now that you are in the US? So what is the scenario there, and what kind of people are looking for it?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for the invitation, and very nice to meet all of you. Personally, it has been my dream ever since I got into real estate to somehow uh, combine international travel with real estate, and I studied and got my certified international property specialist designation in 2017. Uh, and at that time, my best friend decided that he wanted to move to Portugal. So, just as part of my background, um, I I I did have the opportunity to come to Portugal and assist my best friend in purchasing property in Sesimbra. He bought two of the hotel condos
Nice.
that were available through the IR group um, at that time. And the exciting part is that now he's moved to Portugal, and 2022 is year five, I believe, out of six. Maybe that's now extended to seven for certain
Mhm.
situations, but it's very exciting that he's now there, and he would soon enjoy citizenship. So the great thing about doing that is it really gave me a great introduction to Golden Visa. Just by doing it, I mean, certainly doing it is oftentimes the easiest way to learn something. And I will also express that the pandemic created a big problem for this investment because it was a hotel uh, that was being renovated, and the renovation was delayed because of COVID, and the opening of the hotel was delayed because of COVID. And as all of you know, and for anyone in the audience, the way many of these investment golden visa properties work is that the developer purchases a dilapidated building, preferably a hotel, such as the one in Sesimbra, and
Yeah.
which is now the Marriott or uh, one of the Marriott properties in Sesimbra, and then sells the property, the individual units, to the Golden Visa applicants, and then they use those funds to develop the property and create a fund to start paying on the guaranteed 7% returns. In this case, it was a year and a half after my friend made that purchase. Well, because the hotel did not open, they got into trouble. So I'll leave it there. But that I think it's a good example of what can happen. It was very, very unexpected because, of course, the pandemic was unexpected. I think eventually, they'll do fine, but it's investment only. He can't live there. He lives in Lisbon. But again, it gave me a good background, and obviously I was like everybody else. I wasn't able to travel for 2020 and most of 2021. But now I've started to send a variety of clients over to Portugal to make purchases. As I mentioned, I had one from Florida that just made a purchase, and then another one. But my goal personally is to live half time in San Diego and half time in Portugal, use the Golden Visa to buy something for myself. And because of my background and my licensing, according to my lawyer in Portugal, I can also work. It's not very hard.
Exactly.
And continue what I do. I do a lot of advertising on Facebook, and I get people coming to me that think I'm in Portugal based on what I say in the conversations, and I'm honest with people. But I have, like I say, I have partners in Portugal that pick up for the property sales when the clients get there. But what I am seeing mostly is people that either want to retire there or that want to, live there and work now because they, have remote jobs. I do push for for the idea for people to, send their kids to university in Europe and use the Golden Visa as a way to pay for their education. And of course, have the opportunity to to live, their whole family to live in Portugal or in the EU ultimately. Here in San Diego, that is a very, very popular way to send kids to college. 5 years ago, if you bought a condominium near University of California, San Diego, you would have bought it for $600,000, and today it's worth $900,000. So you paid for the education, and I'm sure to a slightly lesser degree, you could do a similar thing in Portugal.
I think a lot of the sorry. Yes, I was just talking
Yes.
about a lot of other residencies are also in the pool of market. For example, the EB5, the UAE residency, and Caribbean residency that we're talking about, and that's the talk of the town in current day scenario. So I think it's important to understand, be educated about it, but also to know the pros and the advantages of having Portuguese residency as compared to the EB5 and as compared to the UAE and Caribbean as well. So I think it was a great learning experience for all of us. Rahim and everyone else, do we have any other discussion or questions to engage on with?
Yeah, Joao was nodding actually while Ron was talking, so I would love to hear from him.
Yeah, I will ask you later on for Ron's contacts, because I would really like to chat a little bit with him. This IRR group Ron was telling us about. They reached out to us last year in April, and we did our due diligence. And Rahim knows we do our due diligence. We don't
They
show
do.
we don't show a product to our customers in which we don't rely totally, and we didn't like it, so we didn't show any customer the IRR group proposal. And I'm glad we did it, because it really went wrong. and I would like to, if you don't mind, Ron, later have a chat and understand a little.
I think you got the picture there, Ron.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Of course, I'll talk to him. I already connected with him on LinkedIn while we were talking.
oh, perfect.
Sorry.
But yeah, Joel, I think I can put my number in the chat for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
I
you.
will make connections. But yeah, I mean, in addition to that, it wasn't IRR group, but we had actually sourced some properties out of Sisimbra that were half built, and things went belly up. So I remember very precisely, actually, in the heat of COVID, these things happened, and yeah, it was quite the loss for the developer. So yeah, these things can happen, and I guess this actually stresses even more so the importance of the group behind the development,
Yeah.
and what they are experienced with, what they have done in the past, and what kind of liquidity and strength they have. So this is actually a lesson to be learned for investors to do their due diligence and go through the proper channels like Golden Portugal, for example, that does their due diligence, in a very thorough way. They spend money on the due diligence. It's not just them listening and understanding what the documents are, but they actually hire and retain lawyers to protect their investors. Simple as that. So yeah, Joao, you want to add something there?
No, I just got cut off. It's a shame, but I can't. I didn't know what you were saying. For instance,
No, I was
we
just
must
praising
repeat
you.
this webinar in another time.
All good, all good. Just to kind of listen also from Ahmed on that notion as well. Like, what are your thoughts, Ahmed, on projects? Because I know Dubai is also a very sort of progressive society here, and projects. I mean, it doesn't matter which part of the world, projects do get upside or belly up. So, what are your thoughts from UAE perspective on that?
Well, actually, what I have experienced is most clients will look for the freehold properties. This will be their the main demand.
That's true. Yeah.
Then comes after that for sure the investment fund. When it comes to some kind of investor who doesn't want to um, spend some time to follow up with his property and the property management, or maybe to calculate some taxes. No, they will go for the freehold, the 500s or the 350. They don't mind, but they will look for the location. Many
Perfect.
of the inquiries that I have seen, they will first look for like a holiday home, someplace that's near to a beach or some touristic area, because it means in the future, if they are going to sell it, they are going to make some profits.
Yeah.
So that this is from my perspective, this is the main demand that I see in Dubai. When it comes to the investment fund, it's pretty easy. Number one, the company that will promote this fund. Number two, the fund manager. They will
Yeah.
not ask for the lawyer or the bank that will regulate the fund. The investor will not look at that. Only the agent, number one. Number two is the fund manager. This is what I have seen, honestly.
That's it. Khalas.
Khalas.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I would just add that every of these golden visa eligible funds are highly regulated by the Portuguese Tax Commission under the European Union law.
I'm
just
so sorry, but I have to go right now. It's
okay.
been
Perfect.
meet with
Thank you
you.
very much.
Yeah, thank you for your time. It's a really
Hello.
great pleasure to meet with you all,
Okay.
and I hope we can have some other chat in the future. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ahmed, for plugging in. Joao will finish up with you in the end.
Okay. I was just saying that these funds are highly regulated by the Portuguese Tax Commission under the European law, and also usually audited by one of the big five auditors. So this is something that should make an investor more comfortable. Of course, it's important to know the fund manager track record, and of course, the investment advisor. Who is the investment advisor? What is their track record? But having these funds so highly regulated is something that comforts the investor.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'll leave everyone, and I think Ron, for sort of a message for you as well, is one thing that we do differently from some of these projects is that we have partnerships with the largest bank in the country, which is Millennium BCP. And when we do a freehold property sale to an investor, similarly to the hotel project that you mentioned, we do offer a bank guarantee to the client. Okay, so in case things do go belly up, there is a strong bank guarantee associated with the project that they have purchased. So this is something that they can do. It does cost a little bit of money to obtain the bank guarantee, but it's totally worth the money you spend, so that you can protect the investor in case the project is defunct. Okay. So this is what I would suggest for the new investors that you introduce, is to not have the same experience, because there are a lot of people, choose to not get it just because there is a cost to it. But I think it's totally worth your while to actually have this right especially when going into a construction project. And that way the client can actually protect themselves.
Good
So,
insurance, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Afsana, over to
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much, everyone, the panelists, the attendees, and the amazing team behind making this webinar a success. I hope it was an insightful and educational one for everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.